Alright, Pistons fans, so in today's video, we have to talk about Blake Griffin again. Now, I'm not trying to hate on Blake Griffin. I'm not trying to pile on him, but he continues to talk about the Detroit Pistons, so I have to report on it. I have to make videos on it. He wants to keep on talking about his experience with the Pistons, so I'm going to get the news to you guys. So he did an interview with JJ Redick on the JJ Redick podcast, and I'm going to be playing certain portions of the clip here in a second, but I just want to say that, there are some things that I agree with Blake Griffin that he's going to say in this interview, and then there are some things where I just feel like he's lying, trying to save face. In this interview, there's both good and bad on the side of Blake Griffin. I feel like Blake Griffin is telling the truth on some points, and on some points, I feel like Blake Griffin is trying to lie to make himself look better than he actually is. So the first clip that I'm going to play, he's going to basically be talking about, the trading of Andre Drummond, the trading of the Morris brother, and then talking about the start of this season and to the point where the Pistons started to tank. Play the clip.
It might be easy. So last season, when the season started, Derek and I get there and we've now traded away Andre Drummond the previous year right before the bubble. Reggie Jackson buyout, I think it was. Got rid of Markieff Morris, got rid of our older guys. And so they put this team together and we're kind of like, they're telling us we want to be competitive. We want to but what are you going to say? And so they bring us in I think the second or third day of training camp, and they're like, hey, we want you guys to be mentors to these guys, which is, the writing's on the wall. And me and him are cool with that. That was totally fine. We had a lot of respect for Coach Casey and Arn Tellem over there, guys that we all know. And, for Derek, it was a lot easier to get moved. And, I remember shortly after that, he was like, so I just kind of stuck it out. I was trying to be, a sort of a mentor to the young guys and accept my role, not come in and take a bunch of shots and just be that guy. They had averaged a career low in shots. I think I was shooting 10 times a game, wasn't playing that much. Also wasn't playing well at all. And so when they finally came to me at beginning of February and they were like, hey, we're just going to accept this full tank.
Yeah, so I find that very, very interesting, and I do believe that Blake Griffin is telling the truth when it comes to the situation that he was talking about. So he basically said that the Pistons started out trying to be competitive, and then around February, that's when the Pistons began to try to tank. And that does sound pretty accurate to the situation that happened with the Pistons, because when you look at the start of the season, I know now, we obviously finished with only 20 wins, but when you look at the start of the season and the roster that we had Killian Hayes starting at point guard, DeLon Wright at the shooting guard position, at the 3 we had Jeremy Grant, at the 4 we had Blake Griffin, and at the 5 we had Mason Plumlee with Derrick Rose coming off the bench. I know in hindsight that roster doesn't look too good right now, but at the start of the season, it did appear that the Pistons were trying to be competitive, trying to make a run to finish somewhere around the A seed. So I do believe him on that point. And then he also talked about, how he was told to be a mentor to the young guys. I do believe that is true as well, that he was told to mentor, the Sadiqs, the Isaiah Stewarts. I do believe that when he said that. But now in this certain portion of the video, this is where it begins to get a little rocky. This is where I believe that Blake Griffin starts to try to save face, starts to throw in a little bit of lies here and there to try to make himself look a little better. So play the clip.
Put full tank in a way, or develop our young guys. Honestly, just I didn't put as much thought into it. I was just ready for a new situation, and I also felt bad in a way. I was out there every day trying, but I just couldn't get my legs back under me after our training camp. Felt good going into it, couldn't get my legs back under me after training camp, and I kind of felt bad in a way. And I was like, you know what, this will probably be best for everybody. Give some money back. They get to do their thing. They get to play their young guys, and I thought it was a good thing for both sides.
Did you, during that little break where they announced that you'd be sitting out, we're going to work on a buyout, you eventually sign with Brooklyn, you get a couple weeks, I think, before you played a game.
I got 6 weeks.
6 weeks. So you had 2 months, two and a half months, where you got to work on your body.
I had 9 weeks where I think, maybe not that. It was beginning of February, and I didn't play till 2 weeks after. Yeah, basically end of March. Maybe 7 weeks.
Okay. So there were multiple things in that clip. So the first thing he said that he claims, according to himself, he claims that he was really trying on the Detroit Pistons, really trying to, get back to the old Blake Griffin that we all knew and loved, the 2019 Milwaukee Bucks series, that Blake Griffin. He claims that he did try to get to that level this year. And also, something that was interesting is that he eventually just broke down and ended up wanting a new situation from the Detroit Pistons because we were tanking, we weren't going anywhere, he wasn't playing well, and he just wanted a new change of scenery. And this is where I just have to disagree with Blake Griffin, because Blake, he claims that he was recovering from the injury, and that was one of the main issues why he couldn't play as well. And my thing about that is, look at what you did on the Brooklyn Nets, okay? He also said that he had 7 weeks to go rest and prepare to play on the Brooklyn Nets. Yeah, you had 7 weeks to prepare to play for the Brooklyn Nets, but didn't the season for the Detroit Pistons get cut in half? So you had all of that time off, and then we had the training camp that wasn't a real training camp. So I'm sure he had that time to heal and rest as well. And then coming all the way to the start of the season in 2020, you mean to tell me you didn't have enough time from when the season ended for the Detroit Pistons, the bubble happened, and then the start where the season began, and you didn't have enough time to recover? But magically in 7 weeks, when you went to the Brooklyn Nets, that's when you recovered, that's when you got your strength back. Maybe he's telling the truth. I don't know him personally, but that one does sound a little bit far-fetched to me. You had, from the season ending on the Detroit Pistons, you had the bubble, and then you had the start of the season. And all of that time you couldn't heal, you couldn't get back to the old Blake Griffin, you couldn't dunk anymore. But you took 7 weeks off when you went to the Brooklyn Nets, and then automatically you started diving for loose balls, you started dunking the basketball.
It was beginning of February, and I didn't play till 2 weeks after. Yeah, basically end of March. Yeah. Maybe 7 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah, so I went home. They said, we totally get if you just want to work out. We're probably not going to play you that much. And I was like, if it's all the same, I'm just going to go concentrate on getting right. So I went back, worked out, got to work out for like 6 weeks in LA. When I got to Brooklyn, worked out for like 2 weeks before they let me play a game there. And that was a huge, huge difference for me. Like when do you ever get 6 week break where you're not injured?
Right.
In the middle of the season to kind of get your legs back under you.
How it seemed like you were relishing the once you got to Brooklyn and you started dunking. It seemed like you were really relishing
trying to dunk.
Yeah, not just that, but you were hyper aware of the chatter on social about there were some memes about you not dunking or dunking once with the Pistons.
Yeah, it bothered me a little bit because the stat was he hasn't dunked in 400 something days. Sure.
You guys also weren't in the bubble, so.
Yeah, so with that part, man, as I just stated, I just find a hard time believing Blake Griffin when it comes to that. Maybe he's telling the truth. I don't know. I'm not here to vilify him, but I just can't really get down with him saying that he didn't have enough time to really recover, and that's why he struggled on the Pistons. I don't know. I've seen dudes fight through injuries, and then also when you have that type of time to recover from injuries, when you have breaks like that, such as the season getting cut in half for the Pistons, I just don't know, man. I just don't know. And then also, before I end this video, I quickly wanted to mention that he did say that he believed that it would be best for everybody if he parted ways with the Pistons and to go to a new team. He felt like it was good for both sides, and it did work out in the end for both sides. For the Pistons, we ended up getting Cade Cunningham. Obviously, we have projected top 5 cap space for the 2022 free agency, so it definitely worked out for us. Our future is bright. And then in terms of Blake Griffin, he went to the Brooklyn Nets. It wasn't successful for them this year because of the injuries, but they're coming back this season. They're going to have a healthy James Harden. They're going to have a healthy Kyrie Irving. They're going to have healthy Kevin Durant, and also Blake Griffin. So he does have the opportunity this year to compete for a championship. So in the end, I guess it kind of did work out for both sides. But just all in all, to wrap it up, man, Blake Griffin, I really hope that he doesn't speak too much more about the Pistons because I want to just end it off here. Blake Griffin, I don't hate Blake Griffin. I'm not here to vilify Blake Griffin. I just don't really believe him when he says things like he didn't have enough time to recover or he couldn't really find his footing on the Pistons. But when he went to the Nets, he automatically started diving for loose balls. He put effort in on defense. He started dunking. It just sounds far-fetched to me. It just sounds a little bit off. But Blake Griffin, I don't hate him. He's just a city villain. One of you guys in the comment section actually said that he's just a villain, someone who we get a little rah-rah about. We're not really hating on Blake Griffin. We just don't really like him as Detroit Pistons fans. It's all fun. It's nothing too serious. So for the people who saying, you know, I'm trying to kill Blake Griffin or I'm being too critical on him, no, it's just a city villain. That's all that it is. Blake Griffin, in my personal opinion, gave up on the Pistons this year, didn't put in his full energy and effort on the Pistons. So let me know your guys' thoughts in the comment section below. Like this video, comment on this video, share this video. Thank y'all for 3K, and I'm out.